The Edmonton Oilers slick-witted over the weekend as they stave off elimination in resounding fashion, blowing the Panthers out 8-1 in Game 4. Sergei Bobrovsky was pulled after allowing 5 of those goals, though he is still favored to win the Conn Smythe. The Edmonton 7-goal victory tied the 1918 Vancouver Millionaires for the largest win when facing elimination in the history of the Stanley Cup Final. Now, Edmonton is going to try and extend their season again with a road win tomorrow. Teams down 3-1 on the road have been very profitable recently, going 16-10 outright over the last 6 non-bubble postseasons. They're up over 17 units in that span. Edmonton, though, a plus 115 underdog tomorrow night. We get Vancouver Millionaires in the show and Puck Daddy. Congratulations on earning more frequent flyer miles with that trip from Edmonton, Alberta, down to South Florida. So thanks for joining us. Last time on with Puck Daddy, we discussed the Conn Smythe voting and how Alexander Barkov at 4-1 might be a decent play. And then, of course, the Bobber gives up 5 goals. They're now co-favorites. You think a strong bounce-back game from Bobrovsky will lock it up if Florida wins in Game 5?
It could. I mean, and that's the thing, right? It would have to be a strong bounce-back game, but there is a path, I think, here for Alexander Barkov. If he ends up having a big game in Game 5 and the Panthers clinch the Stanley Cup, and conversely, Connor McDavid, who he's going to defend 90% of the time, doesn't have a big Game 5, then I think that's the path for Barkov to MVP. But I mentioned McDavid. Keep this in your back pocket. I do think that we could have a Connor McDavid winner of the MVP on a losing team situation if this thing goes 6, if this thing goes 7. This is a guy who broke a Wayne Gretzky record for most assists in the postseason. He is 5th all-time in points in the postseason. It's a record-setting playoff run for McDavid. I do think there will be a conversation about him winning MVP in a losing effort if this thing goes beyond 5 games.
Well, since you mentioned McDavid, his points prop is set at 1.5 for Game 5. He had 1 point in Games 1 and 2 in Sunrise, but 4 points back home in Alberta. What can the Oilers do to get McDavid going on the road?
Well, they can hope that he converts his chances. You know, Chris Knobloch, their coach, said today, look, we know they're going to throw Barkov at this guy 90% of the time, but look at his numbers in Games 1 and 2. Yeah, it's only 1 assist, but it's, 13 shot attempts, 9 shots on goal. It's, 6 scoring opportunities. He did get his chances in the first 2 games of the series, so they're confident he'll be able to get him again. But I think he's going to have a harder time than he did in Edmonton because Barkov is the best defensive forward in the National Hockey League.
Game 5 total sitting at 5.5 goals. 2 games in Florida, both went under. 2 games in Edmonton, both went over. How do we see Game 5? Does the trend continue with an under?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting last change at home really does allow the Panthers to get set up defensively better against McDavid in particular, but it's all about Bob. He's got a couple of other regulation losses in these playoffs. Both times he's come back and only given up 1 goal in the subsequent game, both of them victories. Like, this team is extraordinarily confident in Bobrovsky being able to shake off what happened in Game 4. They don't think it's his fault. They told him to give him some rest. That'll probably help him out in this game. So if you believe in Bob, then you should believe that it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game.
All right, the one and only Puck Daddy, a little richer, like a Vancouver Millionaire this postseason with those frequent flyer miles he's taken advantage of. Thank you, Greg Wyshynski, down in Florida.